The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, weekdays 4 Eastern.
People remember James Traficant as the U.S. Congressman with the flamboyant hair, the colorful language. He once signed off on the House floor by saying, and I'm quoting him now, "Beam me up." Others remember the Ohio Democrat as the guy who got expelled from Congress after being convicted of bribery and racketeering charges he still denies. Traficant served 7 years behind bars. He's been out of prison now for about a month, and he's joining us now live from Boardman, Ohio, along with the best political team on television. Congressman, thanks very much for coming in. How you doing, first of all?
Real good, but don't call me names.
What,
I'm doing fine. I want to say hello to some of my friends at Rochester, Dre Maddox, Cold Cut, and Fred McKnight, and all the guys up there.
In Rochester, Minnesota, the prison where you served, right?
Yes, I think that Congress should reintroduce and initiate the parole board for many of our young people in there. It's ridiculous. And I think their good time should be increased. I've never seen anything quite like it. You know, Nelson Mandela said, if you want to know the true character and nature of a country, you've got to go through their prisons, and how true it is.
Well, how was it? I hear a friend of yours by the name of Cold Cut. I don't know what that means, but how was it 7 years behind bars?
Well, it was like any other inmate. In fact, I was treated probably a little bit worse. But I expected that, being a top target of the Justice Department since '83. I'm the only American in history to ever defeat the Justice Department in a RICO trial pro se without being an attorney, full jury verdict. And they've been after me since '83. And they're going to answer some questions before this is over that you'll be covering, just like the Letterman business.
All right, we'll be watching. Here's a quote, Congressman, what you said about your time in jail. "I went to the hole, but anyway, they said it caused a riot. They shackled me and took me in front of the whole body into some room over there, and they put me in the hole." What does that mean?
That's solitary individual confinement, although they're so overcrowded, you're in with another person, maybe two other persons, but you really don't get out but 1 hour a day, and you get a shower every couple days. And they were quite upset with me because I didn't maintain any contact with anybody. I never even acknowledged the presence of any warden. I know exactly what I was doing in prison, did my time, and in fact, right now, I don't prefer to even talk about it, Wolf. I have 12,000 Delphi pensioners that have lost their pension, salaried workers and hourly workers, a $160 million loss to this community. And if we can give $98 million to North Korea, $60 million to Russia, I think we can take care of our Delphi pension problem here. So I'm not real crazy about talking about prison. I've been through it. I think the government will pay for that when it's all over. It
sounds like maybe you got a political future ahead of you. We'll get to that shortly, but let me bring in some of the members of our panel. They've got some questions for you, Congressman, as well. Joe Johns covered Congress for a long time, and you covered Congressman Traficant.
Absolutely, Congressman. And as a reporter who covered you, I have to say welcome back. And there are a lot of people out there who missed you because you were a very colorful individual to cover from year to year to year. My question for you is this. Number one, we're told you may be running again. And I'd sort of like to dovetail that with, would you have done anything differently if you had the opportunity to sort of set yourself up for a new political career?
No, I don't think I've done anything differently, and everybody talks about how colorful I was, but the truth of the matter was that color brought $1.6 billion over and above formula money to my depraved district, and right now we're hurting once again. So I used the only tool that I had, which was my voice and my rhetoric, but I brought attention to the plight of our people, and we were successful. Now, if I do run, and I'm thinking seriously about running, even though the fact remains that no one has ever been through a prison system like this and have come back to want a seat in Congress, it would be an historical first. But the only reason I will run is to help a deprived area, number one, and number two, to get the IRS and the Justice Department right by the short hairs. That's telling it exactly the way it is.
You spent, what, 7 years in prison, though. At this point, after all that time locked up, is there anything that you can tell us that you did wrong? Is there anything you admit to?
Well, number one, I committed no crimes. And I think now everybody understands that. I just got an affidavit today from one of the jurors that is citing some revelations that will be part of a motion placed before the court. 4 of the 7 people who testified have already been proven to have lied and perjured themselves. There's a young man named Okolo, a black man in Nigeria, whose life was ruined because he said he wouldn't perjure himself for the Justice Department against Jim Traficant. No physical evidence, just the voices of 7 people who are all going to prison who said they did some form of bribing Jim Traficant. Now, I think we're going to really have a real shootout before it's over.
So you want to go back to Congress, right? That's what you want to run for, congressional seat?
I'm not sure at this particular point. I'm not sure at this particular point. I have an awful lot of offers. I'm doing a lot of speaking with the Tea Party, by the way, and I think is a good opposition voice, not necessarily for anyone targeted specifically, but they're upset with the government, upset with the country's direction, and I think if they start advocating some proposals here, it makes some sense.
So why would you want to get back into politics and rejoin a Congress that you don't approve of, that's got a 28% approval rating, for example?
Well, before I left, I referred to them as political prostitutes and later told a news station that made national news that I wanted to apologize to all the hookers in America for having associated them with the United States House of Representatives. Yes, I heard you talking about President Obama. I feel for him. His heart's in the right place, and he's working with the worst Democratic leadership in history.
Nancy Pelosi?
He has his work cut out for him.
Nancy Pelosi?
Well, I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm talking about the overall leadership. I think it's very poor.
All right.
The worst I've seen in the 50 years I've evaluated it.
Congressman, we're out of time, but can we just get a flat yes or no? Will you be running as a Democrat if, in fact, you decide to run for Congress?
Number one, you can't get any direct answers from me yet, Wolf. You'll have to call me back. But thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, but you still are a Democrat, right?
I'm an American. I don't know if I will run, and when I do run, how I'll run. I supported Democrat and Republican initiatives. I vote and always did vote what was best for the country, not what party promoted it.
Congressman, thanks very much for coming in.
Don't call me names. Thanks. Glad to be here.
We'll
Glad
call
to be
you
anywhere.
Mr. Traficant, let me say that. Thanks very much.